Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause.
Good afternoon, everybody. Akasan here in Futako Tamagawa. That's actually new. I haven't been here in a few years now since Corona. I'm about to meet up with DC-san and we're gonna check out No Time to Die, the final installment in the Daniel Craig saga of James Bond 007. Let's go. Oh my God, what is this? Fried chicken and pancakes. I was so happy until I found out it's like $25. What in the? Dude, and over there, Venom. Can't wait to see that in December. We are Venom. Coming December. Hi, Coco. Hi, okay.
I like how he looks like he's giving him a fork.
I mean, granted, that is a dope poster.
And life is all about leaving something behind, isn't it?
Come on, Bond.
Ooh, holy shit, y'all. That was a movie. That was a real good movie. Oh. DC-san too.
Nothing says awkward like having two people staying on opposite sides of the
Yeah.
room, looking at you at the same time and being like, "What, are you guys going to jump me or something?"
Oh, okay. That was a movie. Wow.
Going to the other areas. Like, this hasn't been cleaned
This is
up
a
because of
Medeka, Japanese rice fish pond. Can you see the rice? Can you see the fish?
it needs to be cleaned.
This looks like a dope Bond area too. This is kind of cool. They truly are rising.
I don't know. It's kind of creepy.
I
I
like
like this side better.
All right, guys, so this is just going to be the non-spoiler review and such. Honestly, I think that might be, the hype is high right now, but that might be the best Bond movie I've ever seen, actually. And Skyfall is up there for me, like that.
This one was definitely more, I'd say, intensity.
Yeah.
And not just action-wise, but intensity. This one was pretty much full-on start to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, who do you follow? Who do you trust? Where are we going next, kind of thing? And but the earlier Bond films was always about locations. So you're like, all these fantastic, beautiful
That's a good
locations,
point.
stuff like that. Not that they don't have it, but that was super secondary.
Yeah.
In this one felt more story driven.
And less of a global terrorist type of thought process.
The global conversation of this was actually brought
very
down a notch,
very
and
minor.
things felt
Yeah.
more,
If anything, I think the global part or the global threat of it was only thrown in as an excuse to kind of
have these things happen.
to wrap things up and things like. But this definitely felt like a bookend to Daniel Craig's journey as Bond.
Casino Royale and this one, I think, were like the two perfect opening and closing for his series.
I think so.
As a whole.
I think so, and I think it really helped cement and put a stamp on his legacy as Bond, because I'm watching this movie and I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, damn, this is going to be actually really hard to top this as the next person to take over as Bond, he or she. That's the thing. He or she is really going to have a difficult time topping this. The other thing is, it's funny because Skyfall was the top for me, one of the best, and that's one of the reasons, because the director was highly influenced by The Dark Knight. Right. Interesting enough, funny you say that. Yeah, because No Time to Die with Hans Zimmer helming the soundtrack. It's definitely Zimmer, and I don't know if this is good or bad, but there was another movie he just did recently. He scored something, and But
I'd have to look it up.
basically, like the previous movie, you can kind of tell that he's starting to kind of recycle some of his iconic songs. Tenet. There you go. Thank you. And so that, I thought it was just the Nolan thing, the fact that he was just working for Nolan, but nah. Like, you can tell, there's even, I think there's actually a part, there's really a lot of scenes that sound like The Dark Knight. And,
one of the director's like, hey, man, you know what would sell really well? You still get that Dark Knight soundtrack in the back?
Right. The Dark Knight, but then there's even one part in the movie where it sounds like they're recycling time from Inception, and one character makes a comment about, we have no more time. I'm like, wait, was that on purpose? And then there's also a few sounds and bits and pieces from Inception. Interstellar. Particularly Interstellar, there's a lot of stuff going on as well. So
I think we're going to find out that Inception, Interstellar, Tenet, and the Bond series are all within the same universe.
That'd be something interesting.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yo, if Bruce Wayne shows up as the next 00 agent or something, 00B.
Bro, you mean which one? The Ben Affleck Bruce Wayne
no,
or
no,
the
of
Robert
course.
Pattinson?
No. Christian Bale, he's gonna come back.
Oh, okay.
Q's gonna tape up his leg and everything, and it'll be like,
he's gonna be, isn't he?
I'm gonna be the best. I don't know.
I will say this: when it comes to the next Bond, whoever it is, from whatever walk of life they come from, the bar is set because you had Daniel Craig, who was doing all of his own stunts even before he became a super famous actor, and he does all his own stunts in this too. Yeah, good luck.
The pacing is really good in this particular. I think that's the one thing I'm going to give a big time credit for is I was really hesitant to actually come into this movie 3 hour, hitting that 3 hour mark. No social distancing anymore. We couldn't even get our premium seats. So I was going to be sitting on these hard ass seats. Like he said, I didn't feel like it. Spectre, on the other hand, I was ready to go. I was ready to go.
One of those movies where it's not that it was a bad movie, but it did feel long.
Well, it just was dragging, and I think that's the cool thing about this particular movie is that it didn't really ever feel like there were slow spots where they were just killing time.
Yeah.
Like every time somebody was on screen,
That did happen.
oh my God, every time it was like, okay, well now we need to go to Montreal, or now we need to go to Spain, now we need to go to the desert.
And going to those places is cool, but it's like that time in between, it felt like, well, we need to fill in some dialogue or something. So,
exactly.
And then about a mountain
very Lord of the Rings kind of gets this scenery really quickly. No Time to Die really never talked about any of that. Like they never really glorified any of the locations that Bond was in or anybody.
For me, it felt more organic. So it's like, okay, we've seen this location before, and this scene, we've come back to this location. It's a little bit of a time difference, but it feels like it's part of the story, and we're just moving on. Not like,
exactly.
I remember when that was over. Don't do any of
the
that.
only time that they actually really did something like that, which it made sense, was in the opening, and I thought that worked.
That's what I mean.
That worked really well because you're just enjoying it, and I'm up here thinking about I bet you Airbnb is going to be dope next year. Everybody's going to be traveling to, they were in Italy?
They were in Italy.
Italy, right? Everybody's going to be traveling to Italy, and then something happens, and you're like, oh, that's right. Oh, I forgot. I forgot what kind of movie this is.
Movie.
Yeah. So I thought that was done really well, and then the only other thing that I'll point out is the old controversy, because even before Corona was a thing, the whole idea of a woman being 007 or being Bond or whatever. That's what
on that side of the agency.
It wasn't even that big of a deal. It actually, in some ways, they kind of made fun of it.
They made fun of it, and they made it fun. At least for me, they made it fun because it was like, oh, I see things that people say about this character, and now another character is kind of, showing those kind of traits or talking about those traits, and it just worked out. Really well.
I don't think it was it wasn't really that significant to the telling of the story, but at the same time, it did make a point about
how we view the character and different titles. It's like, It is what it is.
Not even like the
So
well,
does it have to define you, or it's just okay? It's
there
your
you
job
go. There
title,
you go.
Let's move on.
Well, and on top of that, I was just gonna say, like, the idea that, do you think James Bond, was he so conceited or so into himself that they think they were gonna retire the number, like put a jersey in the rafters if he stopped being the 007 and everything? They made that comment in the movie, like, did you think the world would move on, stop without you or something like that? So
and I like that because there's and he's retired within this series, not including anything dealing with this movie, but from the movies up to now,
the Daniel Craig, he
twice
like, or he
2 times or 3 times.
He was
two at least.
Removed from the agency, or he left on his own.
He officially retired once.
Right. So there you guys have it. That's pretty much all we can really get into until we get into like spoiler talk. I think it's going to be interesting. I do recommend that you guys, if you're really
if you're a James Bond fan, definitely
you
go
should
see
this as soon as possible.
you've
I'm
seen
actually very surprised that it didn't leak.
2 of the movies within this series,
Yeah.
I'd say
Yeah.
go watch it because it's a nice closing either way.
Yeah. I'm actually really glad that we got a chance to watch this before it comes out tonight in America.
I'm
because
almost sad.
Why?
I liked him.
Oh, okay.
I liked him as Bond. He had this, compared to Sean Connery and Roger Moore and all the other Bonds came before them, and they have their own ways of doing things, and that was great, and it worked well for them. I like that he was rough around the edges when he needed to be.
I agree.
But he was also, hey, business as usual when needed to be. That dynamic was kind of
right.
cool.
You never know. In some way, somehow, within the multiverse, like you never know. Like, look, if Doctor Who can bring together former Doctors, you never know. We got the actual actors. How many are actually alive right now?
For Bond?
Oh shit! Wait, Daniel Craig's, Pierce Brosnan's around.
So
we only have 2.
Roger Brosnan is around.
Roger
Moore and Sean Connery
have passed.
Have passed.
Yeah. So we maybe.
Yeah.
So we can't really do into the Bond verse, but
you can.
Well, I guess
You
CG,
just
yeah.
introduce some other Bonds, or do the AI version
there
like
you go.
they did in Kingsman.
There you go.
Then
There you
sitting
go.
at the round
So
table.
don't worry, but yeah, I definitely think if you're a big fan of Daniel Craig's work with the Bond series, go see it as soon as possible, okay? And we'll talk to you on the next one. Later, y'all. Bond will return into the Avengers of the Bondiverse.